Hey guys, so we're SEMA 360 for the P&S Detail team, P&S Detail Products here in the top secret test shop and training center, Rennie Doyle, in the hills around Big Bear Lake, California. So I got Sydney with me right now. So Sydney, we're going to start with one of your favorite products,
yes,
which is the Clarity Cream Polish. And we're going to do kind of some prep work on this wonderful Subaru here behind us, a Crosstrek. Today, and then in 2 days, we're going to finish it with some of the finishing processes. So let's talk a little bit about what you're using. You've got just a cordless.
Hey guys, I got Facebook has no sound. I don't know why yet. So
are we going to keep rolling? Our sound director's telling us we're out of sound, so that's not really working for us.
Oh, they got it now.
Okay, cool. Great. So as with anything, sometimes there's a technical glitch. So we've got a free spin polisher, right?
Yep.
So, and we've got a foam polish pad, and this is from our friends at Buff and Shine, which we love. And we've got Clarity Cream. And why did you go with the product, the amount of product you went with, Sydney?
Just one, because it's a brand new pad, so needing to prime the pad. Each additional window, you won't have to use this much product. But Clarity Cream is a wet product, so you want to make sure you have enough of it because you don't want it to dry out too soon during the process. I chose a yellow pad because there's a lot of contamination on this window, where generally in windows, I find that you find more water spots, and this one just has contamination. So for general light polishing, you would go with something more like a black, and for heavy water spots, you could be in a wool or blue. So I chose yellow, which is kind of a middle of the road to get off the contamination.
Okay, and so you're just gonna pop that on there and do kind of a normal startup of polishing as if you were on paint.
Yes.
But let's talk about that real quick. So this product is really formulated for glass. And so we don't want to use it on things like piano finish or even the paint, because it can actually leave a haze or additional marring, because it's designed to work on a little bit more rigid surface, a little more solid surface. And the other thing that we want to talk about with glass is, you know, if you're trying to get scratches out of the glass, it's really not what the product's designed for. Most of them aren't, and we really don't want to try and get scratches out of auto glass, because we could leave distortion and do some damage to the glass. So for safety purposes, what we're doing is we're really doing a great decontamination scrub on this window with a polish that's going to give us a nice high gloss finish and really make the window feel super smooth, and prep it for
the view coating.
Which we'll get to in a couple of days.
So we've also found that when you properly prep the glass like we do paint and get all the contamination off, all the water spots, it makes that window coating go on much easier and last much longer than what would be expected. So we found that that's very effective for prepping the glass for the coating. So I'm just going to
pop your wiper up and let you go at it.
All right, so first I'm just going to get that.
So are you on a medium speed, Sydney?
I'm on like 3/4 right now. So start out at like 2. So we'll just do that little spot there, and then
got your towel.
Wipe it off. And I know you guys aren't gonna be able to see this on camera, but this window had a lot of contamination, so we should be able to feel that that contamination is starting to break loose. The nice thing about this product is if you are doing water spots, you can literally see the spots breaking off. And if you feel that now, this is really contaminated, but you can feel that at least 50% of that contamination's gone. So if we did it another 3 passes, it would probably be perfect.
Okay.
So
I noticed we had a little problem up here, and this is a common question, so let's answer it right up front. We could take a really nice microfiber towel and just apply the product directly to the towel, and we could hand polish.
Do all the edges by hand.
In that space where we can't get into, and we can hand polish that. So that's a possibility with this product as well. Should they clay this before if they're really trying to get out some of the contamination?
It would have helped to clay before for sure. And that's the same with paint, you know, just helping get that contamination off. And like I said, if there is water spots, you literally watch it all cutting away at the time that you're using it, which is really cool. And it just leaves a super smooth awesome, nice black shiny finish. And then you'll notice too, we won't do it right now, but when you clean it with glass cleaner after, it makes the glass cleaner not smear because it's not grabbing on to all of that contamination on the glass. So it literally evaporates and you have streak-free windows, which is so great.
Now we should clean the windows before we do this.
Oh yeah.
Goes without saying.
Yep.
So you guys, we're on the wash mat here at Rennie's shop. We could run a pressure washer.
Yeah.
But what did you guys use to clean the windows today?
I used Epic and then
So she used the waterless wash. So that bears to be said as well. A product that has a little bit of protection built into it, like we'll use ONR for an example, or even Epic. They're going to leave a little bit of a residue behind in protection. But if we're going to polish this, it really doesn't matter. So you can do your waterless process. You can do a rinseless. You can do your regular wash process. It's not going to matter. And then obviously cleaning them before we do it. And then let's hit it with polish. And they'll really pop. And it does make a difference. If you haven't seen our video where you demonstrated this with the rag company guys, and they polish that window and they go, whoa. And we had some water spots on that window.
Oh,
so the great product available now. You can get through any of your great PNS distributors. So
I know I shouldn't be asking a question behind the camera, but I do. So it's great to remove water spots and things like that. But Sydney, I mean, why do you use just Clarity Cream in an everyday detail, right?
Yeah.
So that's important, right?
Yeah. So for me, just on even just regular details, I have found that it's always that last process that just makes the car pop. I mean, it cleans the windows up, turns them nice and black, and then it helps them stay cleaner longer, right? Because again, it's not, you don't have anything grabbing onto those contamination points. And so I have noticed in my shop that when I use Clarity Cream kind of as that final finish for the detail, even when my customers walk in, they're like, oh, it looks so, I mean, it looks like you did so much more than you did. So it's just really like a final pop. It cleans everything up. It's just
so
awesome.
Time, I mean, obviously for a detailer to think about like time.
Yeah.
What's that add to time for the detail?
Like 10 minutes maybe. I mean, when you're just, I can do this in 2 minutes, so 10 minutes for all the side windows, and it makes all the difference. Huge difference.
Right.
So, and Clarity Cream is the one that we get the most comments on social media. I mean, people just, write in and go, that
makes a huge difference.
Huge difference for such easy amount of effort. So,
and if you've ever been to a car dealership and you've ever talked to a GM and you say, what's the biggest challenge you face? 90% of the time they say, we can't get the windows streak free or clean. And this really is a huge, aid in doing that. So 100% worth the extra 10 minutes to do a car. Let's real quick talk about if we have the black matte trim, we have a lot of that around windshields, especially. How is Clarity for coming off on those?
It comes off very easily. So the black plastic trims, it's going to wipe right off with, the window cleaner or paint prep. If you accidentally hit the piano black with it, it might freak you out, but literally even just polish on a towel will clean it right back up. It does not hurt it. It might just make it a little bit dull and it just, cleans right back up with polish. But off of plastic, things like this, wipes right off.
Perfect.
No problem.
Because that's always a problem with any kind of polishes. I got on the black trim, so always best practice to mask off. But if you're knocking this out at the end, not a big deal.
Oh, one other thing I want to mention since we're talking about that, because this is a wet product and it doesn't turn real dusty like typical compounds and polishes, down that edge of the side windows where sometimes you'll leave some of that dust, and then when people roll them down, it scratches it when it rolls back up. Because it's a wet product, it comes off so easily. You don't leave behind any of that dust. It's not going to cause a future problem for that customer rolling up and down their windows.
Cool. Well, we got some other stuff we got to do to prep this vehicle up. And keep in mind, guys, we're showing you just a quarter of this. We'll get the rest of the prep done by Thursday. We've got a little time for that. Get rid of your tool. So we're going to bring in Mr. Rennie Doyle. Thank you, Rennie, by the way, for having us in your shop. You got it. You guys are going to talk a little bit about wheel cleaning. So we're going to move over. And
grab my toy.
I'm going to knock everything off the cart because that's what I do. And we've got a couple of cool products. One that's been around for a long time, my favorite, which is Breakbuster. And we got a new member of the family, Ironbuster. So just real quickly to revisit, Clarity Cream comes in a pint. That's all it comes in right now, but that's the size you can get. But Ironbuster and Breakbuster, pints, gallons, and fives. You guys are going to talk about kind of a new integration here, because we always said, hey, this is it, man. This is the all-in-one real tire cleaner. And then we turned around and this year came out with one of our 12 for 12 Ironbuster. So how are we integrating that, and how are we working with this product, guys?
Well, the cool thing about working with Shitty, Kyle,
And then we got a new program that we're going to announce probably in the next, maybe even this week.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Oh boy. But we're looking at, we're getting so much positive feedback from the industry, but working with, we call them our kids, is that we get creative. So Sydney and I are talking, and Breakbuster was probably one of the first, correct me if I'm wrong, that was really a wheel and tire cleaner that was on the market. Since then, we've had a lot of people coming in and developing products like that. We like that because it says that we're cutting edge. But one of the things that a lot of people wanted to do and we're getting a request for is an iron remover. And as we know on some of these performance vehicles, is that while Breakbuster's great at it, is that there's sometimes where people that their housekeeping on their wheels isn't quite there. So we developed an iron product, but not just an iron product for wheels, is we developed an iron product that will work on the paint also. So in this application, Ironbuster, we'll bring it in here and show you guys, is Sydney and I are talking, and I said, hey, I got an idea. And that's what you usually hear is, oh boy. So we're using it, but on any heavy wheel cleaner, and especially iron movers, what happens is when you clean it, it leaves kind of a gunk, right? Yeah. So I told Sydney, hey, got an idea. Is spray Breakbuster, so scrub them down. Then when you're completely done, spray Breakbuster over the top of the tire to clean the tire, right? Then just take and mist it onto the face and the barrel of the wheel and rinse. And what we're seeing is that it takes kind of that heavier gunk, that heavier wheel cleaners, iron movers, and it reduces it a great deal. And so you want to go ahead and demo it, and then I'll walk your way through and just add in some narratives.
So I might do it slightly different than you.
Okay, go for it. Different's good. Different's good.
All right, so I think this a little bit more where I can reach that. So I do obviously the iron remover on the wheel only, and in the barrels on the. A lot of cars now have the colored caliper covers, the Brembos and stuff. So you want to make sure to get those. They get all kinds of dirty.
Now I noticed you're doing this on a dry wheel. Is that okay?
Yeah, totally.
Perfect.
And so these wheels are not crazy dirty, but if they were, you would see a lot of purple start bleeding. We're probably not going to get that from this wheel.
Well, we got a little down here.
Super dirty.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see it's going to, and especially back here, it's going to grab onto those iron deposits and start to loosen them up so that when we clean the wheel, it's going to work. So I don't scrub in between. I put Breakbuster right over. And so the reason I do, whoa, jeez. But actually I'm going to scrub it because we have this little tiny wheel woolly, which is cute. So we'll get those, kind of start that process of getting those iron deposits to break off. So, and this is why I like this product, is it really is versatile, that however you want to do it, whatever works for you is going to be awesome. All right, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to spray down the tire. This is going to start turning brown and getting all that gunk off the tire. You can see how fast that happens. That's pretty cool. And then I go right back over the wheel. The reason I do this is it just, I skip a step in my scrubbing. And it seems to work just fine.
I needed to take a pause and say, Sydney, you've got gorgeous nails. You had them done for SEMA. We're going to get you.
We call them
you out.
We call them our kids for a reason.
Know, right?
Wear your gloves.
You know what? It's because we live on the edge of danger. That's why. All right. So then we are going to grab our big wheel woolly here, and we're going to scrub those barrels down. And then the other thing is we always recommend really rinsing the wheel well. We're not going to get out our pressure washer, but we'll imagine that at the end that we would completely rinse these out, because you don't want to leave the Ironbuster on any of the surfaces of the wheel to dry.
So we're going to kind of use a rinseless method here. Part of that reason, guys, is the pressure washer is kind of noisy. Yeah. And we're trying to, be able to.
Yeah. So then we are ready to scrub the tire.
And you just seal that basically a really clean wheel and tire, but all that dirt coming right off with the Breakbuster, which is really awesome.
Yes. All right.
And now what are you doing here with the...
Here I'm just going to try to rinse some of the stuff off until we can get it outside and rinse it, but just to make sure we don't have any of that dry on there.
So Sydney, a lot of times, normally right now, we come through and we go ahead and rinse this off. Now, because it's SEMA 360, we're just going to go ahead and do a no rinse on it right now. But normally right now, you could either take your pressure washer, if you're a do-it-yourselfer, you can take your hose, you know, from home, rinse it off. What we're going to do is in the idea to keep moving and provide as much information is we'll come back with a no rinse right now, dry it all up, clean it all up. The other thing too is I will point out is I'm a kind of a neat freak, and you see that we're down on the mat. But if this is at your driveway or if you're at somebody's home or even a shop, is you want to keep your area nice and tidy. You want to rinse it. The other thing is that you want to do is you need to have work shoes, and then you need to have go home shoes. And so the contaminants that comes from any chemical, not that it's, you know, nasty or anything like that, but I have a set of shoes I wear to work in, and then I got a set of shoes that I go home in. And so just an idea that you've got. So there you go. There's on the right now. How do you normally, you did this a little process slightly different than me, but not really. We play around with it. So how do you rinse it at home?
I rinse it with a pressure washer. So, and I actually use it in my garage. So I don't usually move the cars outside if I'm only using the pressure washer on the wheels. Just because I have, you know, a way that my water collects in my garage that's similar to this. And so I just rinse it real quick. It isn't really that big of a deal. So it's just loud.
So one of the biggest questions we get on our contact us forum is Breakbuster and Ironbuster safe on my calipers? And, you know, does it cause squeaking? Will it damage anything? Will it damage my brake pads? I mean, it's a question everybody asks. And so what's the official response?
I've never seen it cause any damage. I have used it, I mean, however many months both of these products have been out. I've never had any damage, and which is great. The only thing that I like to warn my customers about is sometimes on that, what's that piece called? Rotor. Thank you. On the rotor.
It's always good to have backup.
It will turn like rust colored, right? The Ironbuster.
That goes away.
So I let people know that, hey, if you notice that, as soon as you hit your brakes the first time, it's going to wear that all off. So, but I do always like to point that out to the customer just in case.
And if you're a detailer, all you do is when you're pulling the vehicle out of your shop or out of the driveway, is slightly put the brakes on and take and just wear that coloring off of the brakes right then and there, off the rotor. The other thing is, another question that we get into is, let's talk about black rims right now. Let's talk about powder coated wheels, especially cheaper entry level. So I've got, I won't say a brand name, but they're very popular with trucks right now. And on I test everything. Powder coating right now coming out of the factory is horrible. The quality's horrible. Sometimes we're even seeing just soapy water will take in over time. My own, I've got them on the shop truck. Just soapy water alone is fading those wheels out, that color. And a lot of times that color is powder coating. And so you've got to be very careful. We can't guarantee it's your job to go ahead and do a test spot, because there's hundreds of manufacturers, thousands of different options out there. And sometimes people, before they've even gotten to you, is they've used some pretty harsh chemicals on these wheels. That breaks it down even more. And it's kind of setting you guys up for failures in the future if you don't test it. So be really careful with those wheels, because a lot of times they do it. Now, can I add a little secret in? Okay. In the event our shop truck, if we want our shop truck wheels to look really good after we do a cleansing like we just did, we take dynamic dressing, spray the whole tire down, the whole wheel down, let it set for a little bit, and then rub it all in. And it actually brings some life back to that, to those powder coated wheels. And so
we might be showing something here in a second that might also fill that bill as well.
So, be kind of fun.
But always best practices with wheels and tires, pre-wet them if they're warm. We really like to pre-wet anything that's powder coated when we use Breakbuster with it. You know, the iron remover, we haven't had really any incidents. But again, as Rennie said, local powder coating, the quality and the capability of every shop is always different. That's not saying anybody's not doing good work, but we never know. We also don't know how they've been driven, how long it's really been on there. If it's a factory wheel, more than likely it's clear coated or got paint on it and a clear coat over it. It's going to be safe. If you get a high quality caliper, same kind of thing. It's going to be painted with a clear coat over it. Anything that's been custom done, that may be an aftermarket ad, that could be post-production painted or powder coated. You got to be really careful anytime you use any product. And that's from the most mild soap, Pearl, which is about as mild as we can get, to some of the harsher stuff you use out there. So always, you know, do a test spot, innocuous place, you know, be ready to dry it quickly and have a towel there. And if it looks like it's going to work for you, just be conscious of it. Don't walk away from it. Do your process, get done with it, and rinse it. I doubt that if even on a poor powder coat, we'd have had a big issue with the way we did this. But that's not to say that you might not have some bad powder coat jobs or some old wheels out there. So just, you got to be careful and you got to know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're working on, do some test spots and be very cautious. It's always better to tell your customers, if you're doing this as a pro, hey, we're going to do the best we can, but I can't make you any promises because I don't know the condition of this. I haven't treated it from mint. So we're going to jump from that. We're going to grab the lady who's in charge around here, the real lady in charge. She wasn't with us this morning, but she's with us now, Diane Doyle. Now, Diane, you teach all the interior up here, don't you?
Yes.
Okay, so Diane has some pet names from the students. We are not going to use any of those today. I love it because Diane's got just a wealth of knowledge on the inside. We're going to stick to some really basic stuff. We're going to use Bob Phillips's favorite product, Express Interior Cleaner. And we're not going to use a lot. Again, pints, gallons, fives. We can even do drums for those of you who are looking for high quantity. But we're going to introduce some new toys that we are part of our 12 and 12. Again, interior detail brushes. So these were by the kids, asked for and delivered from Detail Factory. We love these brushes. These are P&S colors, black and red, because the world is black and red. So Diane, what kind of brush do you typically like to use when you're working on, say, seats and door panels and that kind of stuff?
Well, honestly, it kind of depends on what you're working on. The red ones are boar's hair. They're unbleached. And the black are a synthetic. Okay. So the synthetic obviously are going to be a little softer than the boar's hair are, right? So with the synthetics, I'm going to go more towards, you know, the more delicate areas. If you've got like the piano type finish, any areas, I always tell the guys, you know, that little guy on your shoulder, if he's going, maybe I should always.
I wouldn't do that if I was you.
Exactly. Always err on the side of caution. So if you're wondering which one I should use, and you think, oh, this is kind of maybe more delicate, obviously, you know, you're going to go with
least aggressive and see what happens.
Exactly. So that's kind of how I go. But if you look, you know, this one's got some
mock carbon fiber, or is that real carbon fiber?
It looks like maybe a little bit of pretend carbon fiber going on here, you know. So I'm just going to choose my brushes. The little ones are Crevice brushes. Same hair issue going on. We've got the boar's hair
and the synthetic.
Exactly right. And so I'm just going to, you know, on these panels like this, I'm going to go with my boar's hair. Also, depending on the soil,
right?
If I've got a very soiled car, guess what? I'm going to go with something a little bit more aggressive. And then, and you know, if you have a higher end car, more delicate type surfaces, same thing, you know, err on the side of caution, right?
And again, we could always go with a microfiber towel, but it doesn't really do as well with this kind of deeper texture. It doesn't kind of dig in there. And so all those little fine bristles really do a great job. So talk about least aggressive method. A really super neutral cleaner designed specifically for the interiors and the materials on the inside of a car. And just a super product, not like most people will see with an all-purpose cleaner. This is really a purpose-driven product for the interior of the car.
Right. When they did this one, they had a specific thing in mind. This you can use on your leather, you can use on the plastics, you can use. So you're not having to go with multiple products. You know, it's very versatile and it's safe on the leather.
One of my favorite things is it doesn't choke you out when you spray it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I mean, some of those products, man, the fumes are in there and you're like, whoa, hey, it's a good thing we're in COVID, we're wearing masks, but I mean, good grief. Some of those more caustic products can be really damaging not only to the surface, but, you know, just to inhale. So really neutral product that doesn't choke you out and smells great and leaves a real kind of non-scented finish on the inside. One
of my favorite things about this product, other than its versatility, obviously, is the fact that I don't like the symphony of scents that you get.
Yeah, if I get in a car and it's a fruit salad, I'm out.
Yeah, you know, I want to put on my, like, you know, pineapple hat with the, you know, no, I want to be able to get in the car. I want it to smell fresh and clean, but I don't want it to have that obnoxious. And a lot of people now, you know, with respiratory, you know, they don't want to get in there and get choked out.
No, if it smells like nothing, I know the car's clean.
Right. And so one of the beautiful things about this product is the scent dissipates and it leaves just this fresh, clean, non-scented, clean car smell, right? So let's do it, right?
Give a toy and let's see what we can do with this.
So on this one, you know, we've got, you know, not a highly contaminated surface. Don't leave.
I love it.
Oh my God, I did it again, right? Don't leave out the car. Okay. So I'm probably honestly going to go with the black ones.
Okay, cool.
Okay. And just for the simple reason that, you know, I don't have a lot of stuff I need to get out. If I get through and I've got in these areas, I can always switch over and grab something else. But so what you're going to do is you're going to grab your.
Are we on spray?
I probably not.
We do. You're on spray.
Oh, see?
Wow.
Sydney, they set me on spray. Okay. So I'm going to grab the crevice brush first. I like to hit all the crevices and cracks first, get all that done. And then if I have, you know, any areas that I need to. So obviously you're going to spray away from the car so you don't get any, obviously, you know.
Bottle holder. That's what I do for Rennie.
Okay. Are you Vanna?
I am.
You're Vanna.
I'm the Vanna bottle holder.
Rennie calls it something else, but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I'm
bottle. Yeah.
We're being polite.
Yeah. Well, I got the lecture. I have to, you know.
No potty mouth.
Exactly. So I'm going to go through and just get those cracks, right? Crevices, get that all going on.
And that product foams up pretty good too.
It does. And that's one of the nice things that I like about this is you can actually see what you're doing and it's not going to, you're not going to, you know, miss any spots. And so then you can take your towel and I kind of like to open up my towel so that I can get back in there, right? And not have to, you know, so that the towel Nazis, you know, where, you know, it has to be perfectly folded. I kind of tend to be a little more on the wild child side with the towels on the inside, just so that I can utilize my towel. You know, this one doesn't have the seamed.
Yeah,
what is it called?
Yes.
Where's our help?
Silk edges.
There you go. Those edges.
It's not an edge towel. It's an edgeless towel.
Edgeless towel, right? So
and
you
this
can
one doesn't
actually
have any stitching on it, so it won't scratch the inside of the
vehicle.
vehicle.
You're not going to end up scratching. So, like you said, if you have some areas that do have some, I'm taking your job.
It's okay.
Okay, you do have some areas that have some, you know, more dirt, more issues going on. That way you
tend to collect a lot of grime and goo because you got dirty hands. You use those areas a lot. They're high contact, and they're usually with people who are getting in and out of the car. Sometimes when they're getting in the car, you know, they got their dirty hands from whatever they've been doing, and that's one of those contact points. So
right, and the other thing is, you know, you're detailing for your client, and what's the first thing they're going to see when they walk up to that door? They're going to see all the muck that got missed. So these crevice tools are just absolutely awesome because you can get back in there, and it has enough gumption that it can get all that cleaned down. So
that little orange dot on there looks orange again when you're done.
Yeah, actually, I don't know. I'd kind of go red with that, but
okay. Well, it is red and black there, so
it is red and black.
So I'm going to add something in if I can. Is that again standing out Detailing is a Broadway production. And so much about what we do is the show within detailing. When people see you, especially on videos, when they see you in videos or photos, if you're a professional of going to that level, guess what? That's going to sell more. It's going to sell more projects. And so it's going to convince more people to come in and do business with you. So I like this. I like the fact that they're sturdy, they're strong, they bring value, but more importantly is the image it brings.
Well, you know, Ed raises a great point. Is we walk up to the car, we look at the outside of it, parked in our driveway, maybe if you don't have a garage. But the reality is the biggest part of the car you look at is the inside, because you're in it, and that's where you are. So we're going to use the big brush just to kind of give you guys a good demo and a feel for how effective that tool can be. So I got your spray right here.
Thank you, Vanna.
And then we have a question from Facebook too, is can you use a steamer with Express?
Absolutely. It's they go hand in hand. And so I actually, when I put the Express on and I do all of my fine work first, you know, so I give it a basic, I call it get the big chunks off, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to get all the big chunks off, all the kid crisis, you know, dog spit, all the fun stuff. I'm going to get all this stuff off first. And then I'm going to take it off. I'm going to get some of the drips off, but I'm actually not going to remove all of this product. And the reason is that when you come back through with your steamer and you are hitting all of those areas, you've still got product on there that's going to continue to work. And the beauty of this product is, unlike a lot of the all-purpose cleaners that are very aggressive and very harsh, right? Low caustic. This is very gentle. I mean, you can use it on leather, right? So leaving it on there and allowing it to work and utilize that steamer with it, then you're going to have, you know, if you're using commercial grade steamer where you've got, you know, temperatures of, you know, at 290 or above on the tip, you know, you're going to have sanitation and stuff going on along with it. So yes, absolutely beautiful marriage with that.
Another question we get a lot is, can you dilute Express Interior? Well, we think it's perfect as it is. A lot of folks cut it 1-to-1. So it's a very water soluble product. Works great for you know, in that application, which is why it works so well with steam. You know, the product is really designed to pair with our other interior products, and again, be a kind of a neutral smell, be really leave a fresh, clean car. So Diane, without further ado, I'll let you get to your little brushing there.
Okay, great. So I'm going to show you a little bit on the bigger brush. Obviously, we are again not going towards the vehicle. One of the things that I see a lot of people do is they'll spray the whole car. You get splatter, you get inconsistent spray patterns.
Get it on the windows. You got to clean the windows even more. So,
right, and everybody loves windows, right? So we want to spray away from the car to not create ourselves more work and, you know, really take our time and put it in the toilet, right? So,
and that brush really will hold a lot of product in it. So we don't really need to slather up the panel with product before we use the brush.
Right. Yeah. I kind of tend to like to have it foam, especially when I'm going on areas that like, so your handles and stuff, I'm going to show you on a handle because that's where, you know, people with makeup or lotion or, you know, guys with grease and gunk and who knows what else. I don't even want to know. But, you know, so these areas, I'm going to give it a little bit more. And so I'm going to go through.
Foams right up.
See how beautiful that foams up? Okay.
So another question we'll sometimes get and people ask, because you've got a fabric material on that door card, it looks like, right above that door armrest. What if you get the product on fabric? Can it do damage? Is it a problem for that?
No, it's not. And like I said, great option, because with your all-purpose cleaners, if you get those on those fabrics, carpets,
they'll turn white, they'll leave a ring mark, they do all sorts of fun stuff.
And it's actually very damaging to the fabric. And because of the harshness of some of the chemicals that are in those all-purpose cleaners, it'll actually attack the glue that's behind it. And so with this, if you do get a little bit on there, you don't need to stress out. I mean, obviously you're going to, you know, we call you a detailer for a reason. You're going to, you know, have attention to details. You know, you don't want to be in, you know, Picasso and be slathering stuff all over the place. But so you notice I went through and I didn't really scrub that off. You see guys all the time, you know, and they're doing all this number. That's not necessary because like Sydney was saying, we're going to come back through with that steamer and we're going to let that product continue to work.
Yeah. One more question. Are you answering?
Yeah. So Juan Sanchez asks, does Express Interior Cleaner provide any UV protection or is it just a cleaner?
It's really just a cleaner. So I know that, and I've always struggled with this in my career in this industry is people say it's a cleaner and it's a protectant and conditioner. And I struggle with something that really, this product should remove old dressing and old dirt and all those things. So if you have a product that's going to do that, to me, it seems a little difficult to say it's also going to leave protection and shine behind after you're done. So really is just a cleaning product. But the cool part is it's going to leave you with what feels like and looks like a factory finish. So a lot of those, you know, more aggressive all-purpose cleaners, it may leave a waxy or a sticky feel to the, you're going to get basically the factory finish back on that panel or trim. Now, if you've got an older vehicle and they've been exposed to sun or long-term damage, it could dry out and it could not feel right. And then you want to come back and condition it. But if you got a brand new truck or brand new car, you can leave that and you don't have to put any protection there to get it to feel like it should feel, like it just came off the showroom floor. We still recommend protecting it, but it's not a requirement and it certainly will look just like you'd want it to look.
And tune in for Wednesday because we will actually show you what product we are going to use to provide UV protection on this panel.
And we're going to actually play a little bit with some protection on the inside here in a minute when we're done with cleaning.
So I personally, as far as a protectant, I don't like to leave any car naked. Okay. It just, you know, you're setting yourself up for future issues. And my clients, I'm taking care of my people. And so I'm going to follow through with what we're going to show you later on. So that's where I'm going to go.
But if you have that client who says, hey, I don't want any shine in there. I don't like it greasy. I don't like it oily. This can get you to a good point on a car that's really in good shape. And so some of the products we use, they'll never know that we applied that protective layer. But if a customer says, hey, absolutely not, don't do it, this can leave you with a great factory finish and you don't really have to go a step further if that's what the customer's really asking.
Well, and on my personal car, what I love this for is obviously you do the deep clean, right? Every couple months and you apply the protectant, but then every week I completely wipe down the entire inside of my car because of my kids and whatever. And it's perfect. I mean, it comes out perfect every time. It doesn't ruin the look of it. You know, you can get away with just wiping down with Express as an actual Express detail and not making your car look crazy.
No streaking. And no.
So not only is it a great heavy cleaner, but it's a great maintenance cleaner for in between major details as well.
And we've used this on headliners before as a application to a towel and wipe down the headliner. And it works great for that. And we do obviously have some fabric cleaners, but if you're in a pinch or you're doing an express service and it's an express wash for a customer and you're mobile, this is a great answer. And again, one less bottle to refill and have on the truck. And, you know, we're all looking to be more efficient and more effective with what we're doing. It's a great, you know, really utility product.
Sparks. Good for spot cleaning carpet too.
Now we've got a brush that goes with it. So hopefully we've got a nice ensemble going there. And speaking of ensembles, Kyle Clark wants to dive in here, and I think he's got something that we're going to play with that really goes back a ways for us, which is a no-rub coating. And Diane, I think, is going to leave because we're going to start spraying things inside of a car. And I'm not sure that we want to quit leaning on the door there. So before we all get sent to detention,
now I've got weapons.
I'll take that. Thank you. Thank you. Diane Doyle. All right, Kyle. All right, you got a product that really has been around for a long time. So tell us about what you've got.
It's shine in a can, man.
Shine in a can. You know, that just, it's like fingernails on a chalkboard in a way, but really great product.
Yeah. So no rub coating. We're going to coat interior areas and some areas on the outside without actually having to apply it with an applicator We can shoot it because it comes in a can that you can pop out and spray it into places.
Okay, so let's talk about what you're going to use with it. So you've got a microfiber towel.
Yes.
And what else do I need?
That's it.
Should I wear a mask? Should I have a respirator?
Probably should.
Okay. And where do you use this most?
So where I like to use this is in all the tight or hard to reach areas. Usually before I do my protection with our natural finish, which we'll show later.
And you typically apply that with something like this, a dressing applicator pad. And so it's great for, broad swaths and that kind of stuff. But
we're not going to take this can and just start spraying the door panel. It's not going to work great.
But getting in here, so that's what you're going to use that for? And
down in here, and especially where the speakers are.
Okay.
Because that's a hard area to reach.
And obviously vents.
The vents, yep, all those areas. Down around the shifter, the boot. After you've cleaned it, you want to spray something and let it sit there and dry. So what I'll do is sit in the driver's seat, pull it back, give it a nice mist, put it forward, give it a light mist while my foot's on the brake. Yeah, I'm IDA. I know that. Okay. Also, other places I like to use it, after you've cleaned the little seatbelt buckles, the little orange buckle, over time, those get
they get white, chalky.
Yeah,
they look awful.
They get faded. A nice little spritz of this right there gives it a nice fresh look.
So let's talk a little bit about what you do for detailing. So, you don't have a shop. You're a mobile guy, and you are out on the road. So what's a feature and benefit to you for the product like this?
It's efficiency and speed, and convenience, where I can have one of my employees dressing an interior, and before he comes, I can go and get all those tight areas. Also,
so you're doing it like Diane does. You're getting all the edges and the fine stuff so that they can just do the broad strokes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I want to fill that in. Also, it works great on exterior too. There's some of that textured plastic, like the cowling. Around your fog lights, there's always a plastic bezel that we can, need to touch up. Sometimes even down here on these bottom edges, it's just quick. It's easier.
Well, and those grills. I mean, good Lord, a grill on a vehicle is just,
and I know
finger after finger.
Every car has this little rubber boot right here that after you've cleaned it, sometimes it still looks dried out. So if you take the spray with a nice light mist, take your towel and buff around the outside, and you get this beautiful, nice, shiny rubber. This is for rubber, plastic, and vinyl.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you do a little bit of show and tell on how you use the product and apply it.
All right. So I'm going to get in here so you guys can see what I like to hit this area.
So Kyle, you kind of use the towel to kind of your overspray, right? That kind of.
Sometimes, like in this case, this door panel already looks good. It may not need to be fully dressed. Maybe we want to just highlight some of those areas that will, I don't know, make the customer happy, where it looks natural now. Down there looks a little dry. So if I put a little down inside and I can blend it, we may not even need to dress this whole interior. Just highlighting, you know how some cars have like a dark black section here and the rest is tan? Sometimes I'll only dress the black because that's what it needs. That's what it needs to see. Also, we want to get up in here. It looks good. So if I didn't want to dress the whole interior, you don't have to. You can come back with a towel and just kiss it after, and it gives it that nice natural glow. Also here in the vents. So I could let it be. We can come back and dress this later.
Right, because that moist look to it is starting to dissipate a little bit as it kind of dries and sets up, right?
Or if I want, I can give it a nice light white and it leaves more of a natural glow. So it's versatile depending on if you just want to.
You want a high shine?
You want some
or a low
shine, like Brittany would call it, or high gloss, or you could let it, sit there. I'd be really careful around the navigation and buttons. Don't spray in those direct areas. But man, there's so many places you could use this product all over the whole vehicle. So, like I said before, the little tiny orange buttons, just let it sit there and dry. And when we come back later and get it. Yeah. So why is it called no rub coating?
For that purpose alone. If you get a light coat on the car or the surface that you're working on, you shouldn't have to come back and rub it. And that's twofold. First, maybe you can't get into a point where you can rub it, which a lot of times the vents or those grill fins, really hard to get to. The other reason is that, you know, it really doesn't finish out in a greasy, oily look. It finishes out with a nice kind of matte finish, similar to our interior dressing. One of your favorites.
That we'll be using that on this on Thursday. On Thursday when we finish the vehicle detail. Right. But yeah, I like it there. Like I said, there's other places too. Now this has this nice smooth finish. You don't necessarily need to use it here, but some vehicles with the roof racks are that textured.
One of my least favorite places is right here there in that channel.
That rubber.
Yeah, that rubber gasket, basically a body panel joint. Yeah.
You can also use it on, like I said, in the door jamb with these rubbers here. But remember, you're spraying.
Yeah.
So wherever you spray it, you may have to do some cleanup. So just think about that in your order of detailing what your next step will be, because you probably have to come back with some paint gloss after and wipe off the overspray. When I do a winch or a cowling up here, I do it before I clean the window.
Right. So that's all going to get wiped away when you get there. Same thing with paint. You're going to do that before you do your paint, because if you get any kind of, you know, again, like any dressing, you know, if you've got dressing on that plastic trim, any compounds, polishes are less likely to stick to it if it's got dressing.
There's usually 2 times during a detail, especially if it's a higher, you know, paint detail or more thorough detail, that I'll use it. One is right after the wash and dry for those areas that just need to get done, like the cowl. You don't want to do that later. But sometimes if we're going to do like a ceramic coating, we got to get the coating done and cured before we start spraying this, because we don't want that in the air.
You don't want any silicones
near it
present when we do a coat.
So you have to anticipate what order you need to do them in with every detail you do. You know, if this is just a wash, clay, and a bead maker, I'm going to do all the trim and this. Then I'm going to come back with bead maker and bead maker all the paint, and it's going to pick up that as I go along anyways.
So
and it's easy and efficient.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So speaking of coatings,
yes.
We've got a new toy out. So where's Prentice? Prentice is here. Hey, so our director of training, been around for a long, long time. And, you know, what are you saying? We as a company have always been a chemical manufacturer that's got a coating. And now we're a chemical manufacturer that's got a coating line. So we've got a fabric protectant, and we'll get to that later this week. We have really a 5-year coating. It's a 3-year warranty product, which is Inspiration. That's been our coating for a long time. And this year we've added 2 new products. One of them is the View window coating, and we're going to do that on Thursday.
That's why we prepped the glass with Clarity Cream.
Exactly. But today we're going to talk about Soul. And Soul is really a cool product. I'm going to let you guys kind of play with this.
I'm going to give you the Soul.
Okay? Thank you so much. I have the Soul now.
Nice.
Wow. Well, I don't want to say anything, but, you know. So Soul is a 1-year coating.
It is.
And I see that we have with the kit, don't you dare, Diane will come after us.
Oh, that's true. We're going to get killed.
Soul's a 1-year coating with a just a single layer application, correct? Okay, so you've never used this product.
I haven't
before.
used it.
So
I put lots of Inspiration on, but I have not used this product. This is my first time.
And I think there's a wow moment that comes when the first time you use this product is. So I'm going to let you guys kind of have at it and just play with it. We'll talk like any other coating. It's got the same features and benefits as a coating. It's going to give us great hydrophobic properties. It's going to give us a little bit better ease of cleaning when we get dirty cars. It's going to give us protection from UV light and road debris and damage. And what's really cool is, Kyle, you're not a small guy. You're well over 6 foot. That's a big bottle, dude.
That is one of the biggest glass bottles I've seen in the coating industry. 100 mils.
So how many cars can you do with that?
I mean, depending on the size of the vehicle, let's flip that towel. Depending on the size of the vehicle, anywhere between 8 to maybe 12. You do a lot of small cars, probably get 12. You do some big trucks, you're going to be 7
trucks
or 8.
Like we got. We're
yeah,
4 or 5 trucks, 6 trucks.
A lot
Still,
more
that's a
surface
lot.
area.
So for the price on a unit like that and the durability, and it's kind of the step between a paint sealant and going to a full 3, 4, 5 year coating.
It bridges that gap, and it's
Cool.
it's a easy to use maintenance coating. The beautiful thing about this today is this car was coated before. This has inspiration on it. Already.
Okay, so we can put this right over coat.
Yes.
No problem.
So what we did earlier is we waterless washed it, and then Prentice, I'm going to go ahead and have you help me with our paint prep.
Got our paint prep to make sure that that surface is completely free of contamination.
We're going to paint prep.
What area am I doing?
Let's do half the hood.
Nice.
Let's do half the hood. That way,
Let's get right into it.
So again, we waterless wash this, and our waterless wash Epic has some protection in it because for post, once it's dried off, it's kind of a ready to go. You're out the door, and it's got a sealant in it, and so we need to remove that so we get good adhesion between the coated surface and what you guys are about to put down.
And because
right?
it's a maintenance, we're treating it as such. We played this hood too. Okay, so I went in and played it. Now we've paint prepped it. Let's let it just outgas for a little bit. I explain a few things. Cool. You're going to get more cars because we're using this special applicator. You know this is special?
It's got some kind of seal inside it. It's not soaking up all the coating.
So it doesn't get down into the foam. It stays on the surface.
There's like a plastic coating behind it. Right?
Exactly. A little barrier
Shield.
or membrane,
barrier.
whatever you want to call it. So, Prentice, I'm going to give you the bottle.
Okay.
And we're going to prep it. I'll hold it for you. And we're going to put a good amount of the coating on. We'll start around the edges.
Okay.
And work it in. Exactly.
I kind of tap it right on directly on the cloth.
So what does that look like when you've done that, Prentice? So there, you can see that there's residue on the surface of the cloth pretty easily.
Yep. We're using a lot for our first application. Yeah, we're good. I think we're good there.
There's that.
So I'll hold it for you.
All right.
Ooh, that smells.
So now, do I need to have my towel ready? I mean, how rushed am I? I'm ready to go?
I'll tell you when it's ready to play.
All right.
So we're going to do half the hood, but first what we're going to do is we're going to come we're going to put a nice line in the middle.
Okay.
And then we'll cross. That way we're picking up the product as we go.
Do you like to square it out too, to frame it out?
You can do that.
Okay.
If that's how, I mean, you've done it before
That's
as well.
Yeah.
You know, I just like to make sure that we lay down our as much product first
in the middle,
and we're picking it up. Right. Whether you do an X or a Y or a P, whatever you want to do.
We're going to lay down that wet line.
Right. A wet line. Okay. So let's go ahead and put a wet line.
Nice. I'm gonna do across here.
Okay, and then you can do the perimeter if you like. And yeah, see how easy that is?
Oh yeah, it's just gliding right on.
Now, Prentice, are you noticing anything particular about the smell of this product?
It's a very mild smell compared to most coatings I've used before.
What does it smell like?
Off the top of my head. Oh, it smells like peppermint.
Exactly.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
That's one reason. That's why we wanted to do this.
Now, wait a minute. Don't I need to be in a panic mode right now for wiping it off?
Nope. We've laid it down.
I'll hold your applicator while you're getting ready.
All over. So I'm going to give you the Insanity towel.
Cool.
So we're going to watch the coating. You see,
looking for that iridescence like we normally look for.
Yeah, so it's not going to sweat like some coatings. This is just going to start to give it that rainbow. It's going to give some blues and different colors.
Blues, greens, pinks.
Exactly. So when we start to see that, then we can wipe it. So it cures at this nice, slower pace.
I'm not supposed to be breathing it, I'm sure, but
yeah, it does smell good in the shop now.
And in the reflection of the lights, I can start to see some of that.
Prentice is getting high in the corner.
Yeah. With the inspiration bottle. Yeah.
But you really could do a whole hood.
No kidding.
So now I think we have a good enough rainbowing going. Can we see that on camera?
I can.
I can see it right here.
Yep.
Yeah.
The reflection of the white background.
Cool.
Right up here. You can probably see it.
Yeah, a little bit. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and level it. You only have one towel. That's all you need for this.
Kind of work my way. Oh, it's spreading real nice.
As soon as you've done that first frame, then you can go ahead and flip your towel.
Yep.
And then do your
circular maybe at this point.
Yeah, you could. Me being a big guy, I usually have a whole hand on there, and I go front to back, side to side.
It's coming off. Wow, that's awesome.
And the owner of this car is going to enjoy a nice half-coated hood, so we're going to see it. So since we did half of it, let's also make sure that we didn't leave any product over on that.
It's
on
just,
that driver's side.
I mean, it's really coming off so smoothly and no streaking at all.
So this,
how much pressure are you putting down?
Just a light pressure, and you know, compared to normal coatings, you know, longer lasting coatings, You would get some streaking and it'd be an issue, but with this, it just comes right off. It looks beautiful.
So we had a question?
So we have a question about putting bead maker on top of Soul or bead maker on top of Inspiration. Is that correct, Chris? Yeah. So bead maker is a great topper for both of those coatings. It's actually a great topper for all of our coatings, for View, Soul, and Inspiration. Just want to make sure that it's cured enough before you do that.
A couple hours?
Doing it right now would not be a good thing.
Right, a couple hours?
I would say a couple hours at least. And you could put a couple layers of Soul if you give it 45 minutes to an hour, depending on, you know, your humidity and the heat and that atmosphere. But this is that topper. So what I would do is I would put Inspiration, like this vehicle has, and I put Soul on and enjoy the vehicle. Then when you're doing your maintenance washing, that's when I would use bead maker a lot. I'd use that in my maintenance monthly, and Soul is my maintenance yearly.
Because bead maker actually works. It actually works with the coating. Yeah, chemically.
We actually have a friend who's a physicist, and Rennie was telling me that bead maker is helping making coatings last longer, giving it that barrier and that flexibility to protect the coating.
Right. His results were basically that bead maker, using bead maker can turn Inspiration from a 3-year coating to a 5-year coating as far as durability with accelerated environmental impact on that. So,
if you use bead maker as a regular maintenance, it's not like you do it once and then you magically just transform Inspiration into a 5-year coating.
So let's ask another question that goes with all coatings, which is high spots, right? So we run into those. What's the working time on this product, and how cautious do we have to be?
Where's that applicator at?
Right here.
So a lot of you may not know what a high spot is, but a high spot is usually excess product, and it usually can be on the edge, or you can even leave it in the middle. And it's just excess product that is cured.
I like to call them smudges.
Smudge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They look like a silicone.
High spots sounds much more technical, though.
Yes.
Okay.
We can think of another technical term. We'll get that. But that happens sometimes when you're wiping and a little bit of excess product is on the towel, or like that's why I said this edge, because maybe someone didn't wipe over the edge. So with this product, it's very forgiving. I've come back 30 minutes later, reapplied a little bit to
basically wipe it up.
You wipe it up, yeah, and wipe it off.
Nice.
Now with Inspiration, 30 minutes later, you may be taking a little bit of our Envy polish on a towel and giving it a light polish. It's going to level it, and then I go ahead and recoat that section. So it's forgiving. Be careful that if you let this cure all day or a couple days, you may have a problem.
It's going to look like that in a couple of days.
Exactly.
And it's going to be semi-permanent.
You're putting some polishing with the machine to level that, or just like Inspiration.
And so you got a smudge right there. Look at that. Right in the middle.
That is an etch.
That is an etch?
That is an
That's
etch.
an etch.
Wow. Okay. So, hey, that's a great lead in there. So we have a flaw on the paint. And a lot of times when we do coatings, customers will say, hey, my budget is X. I can only afford for you to do a 1-stage or, you know, a 2-level restoration on the paint. Paint's not going to end up being 100% perfect. So coatings aren't going to really hide that, are they? This coating, any coating, really.
No, they might hide just a little bit, but not much.
Okay, so if we want to make sure we get the best look possible, we've got to do the best job of correcting the paint as we can, and let the customer know what is and what isn't going to hide. Because something like that now goes, whoa, hey, I saw that from 10 feet away.
Exactly.
So, but the paint
once you've coated it, it's in there.
It's in, until you decide to grind it off.
Well, this has Inspiration on it, and I know we didn't have a whole lot of time to prep this morning, but I really wanted to compound and polish that. We could have done that. That edging does not look like it's gone through the clear coat. The coating has done its job in being that sacrificial layer, and we're maintaining protection now. But if we wanted to, we'd have to do a little correction to dig that out and then recoat.
Right. And we go on a diatribe about all the things you should do when coating a car, but we just wanted to show off kind of our latest round out to the product line, which is Inspiration family of products, which is the Soul. 1-year coating is really what we say it'll stand up to. We've had results where it's lasted longer. Again, everything is due to condition, wear, tear, how the vehicle is maintained. So if you've got a professional detailer that puts this on, make sure you go back and see them and get it maintained. If you are a consumer, this really could be considered a consumer grade product. So
a
prosumer.
Yeah.
Somebody who's really into this and kind of understands and is willing to take the time and the detail. This is a great product for someone.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm impressed. For the first time I've used it, I mean, it went on so easy, having used Inspiration for a long time and other coatings for sure. It was just so much easier to get on that car and take it off. And yeah, I feel really comfortable with the time factor. I don't feel like I'm in a rush. I don't have that stress of, gosh, I've got to time it just right and get all my towels ready and all that. It's pretty easy going.
And you guys are both mobile guys, so I would think that a product like this is really a super fit for what you guys do.
You could easily do this in a customer's garage or under an easy up.
Yep.
You know, make sure it's all good. Pull the easy up out of the way.
Have you used it in the sun, in direct sun?
I haven't tried that yet. I probably will give that an attempt to see, but it's going to flash fast.
Yeah.
And I doubt that it's going to give the same amount of protection as if you let it slowly cure and do what it's meant to do.
Right. Because you are removing it more quickly. You're going to probably take a larger
product
off the surface. And I would think probably direct sunlight might be okay, but temperature of the day also is going to have a huge effect, as well as humidity outside. But
let me highlight something else with Sol that's really nice, because it is an annual coating. It's not going to be that super tough hard coating that you couldn't put on plastics and trim, but you can easily put that on the mirrors, the black plastic, the cowling, the wiper blades, the headlights, the taillights.
So even if you're using a regular coating, I don't know what that means, a long-term coating on the paint, you could use this on some of the softer plastics.
Exactly.
It's much easier to work
Generally, that's what I would do with Inspiration, is I would coat all the painted surfaces, probably the headlights too. It's a different kind of plastic. And then I'd come back when I go to top it with Sol, and I would do everything on here except for the glass, because we'd be doing view.
Nice.
And that's going to give it a nice, rich look to those textured plastics.
So, barring any questions, and do we have any questions?
I got a handful of questions here.
All right, fire away, sir.
Lifespan of Sol when it's been open.
So that's a great question. Again, storage and the way you maintain kind of where you keep those. So a lot of us keep them in the refrigerator, not the freezer, the refrigerator, or in a cool, dark place. So if your shop stays at a nice even temperature, 55, 60 degrees, like a garage, and it's out of direct sunlight, this should hold up for 2-3 months as you start to use it up. Obviously, the less product you get in here, the more air is in here. So the more opportunity it has to start to cure up a little bit. But Kyle, how long have you, bottles don't last long when you do that, because you know.
And I was going to say the same thing with Sydney. Is she's using this up a lot. So, and unfortunately, I did have one of my employees that, like, I cried almost when he dropped it on the ground. Because I wanted to see how many cars I could get out of that bottle. So, yeah, just make sure your cap's on nice and tight and keep it clean. You don't want to have that air get in there.
All right, what else you got?
So if you have a car that's already coated with Inspiration, customer comes back in a year, do some maintenance, and you like polish that with like Envy, a black pad, and then apply Sol.
Exactly.
Envy and a black pad, Envy and the fine yellow pad would be okay as well, depending on the level of damage. Obviously, you want to clay it first before you do any of that polishing, and you get a great result.
You don't need to do correction on top of that coating to reapply Sol. But if you did, maybe the hood got a little beat up, then you maybe need to put Inspiration back on there if you go heavy.
Let's talk about longevity of the product too in the bottle. Big bottle, right? We've got dozens and dozens of manufacturers, not just our own. And what we've decided is keep these bottles locked up tight, keep them in a nice dark location out of the sunlight, try to keep them in ambient temperature, meaning try not to store them in anything that's extremely hot or extremely cold. Never let them freeze. Never let them get above 100 degrees if you can. We have got open bottles that we've tested from not just our own, but a lot of different manufacturers. I want to say after about a month, you can start seeing the lifespan of the product deteriorate a little bit. But if you're going to have an open bottle for a couple weeks and you go through it, as long as you follow those parameters, we haven't seen any problems.
Well, and here's a suggestion. I put mine back in the box, because then it stays dark all day.
Absolutely.
And then it's not continually, because my shop lights are like these. And so, I mean, you can put it back in the box and still have it on your counter.
Save it when it falls.
Well, see, but here's the deal: is you got the advantages. If you do the same thing to Mike, you put it back in the box and it stays in the dark.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
I'm married too. I get that.
It doesn't work real well for me.
Next question, Chris.
Next question, Chris.
One more thing to review just with everybody, if you could. Wait time between coats of inspiration, wait time between coats of that, and then
I think the bottom line is,
and then wait time on bead maker. So kind of
the wait time is pretty much the same, 45 minutes to an hour between all layers,
except for bead maker.
Give that 2 hours.
2 hours.
Easy.
You know, and
suggestions for anybody who car comes in the morning, do the coating during the day, they're picking it up in the late afternoon, evening.
Try to keep it overnight if you can. If not, just try to get them to park it indoors if they can. You know, that's huge.
I mean, I'm mobile, so I deal with this all the time. If the customer can't put it in their garage, they put it in my garage. Yeah, because I don't want that overnight for its first night to, get any morning dew on the paint and have spotting. The other thing is, don't have to put bead maker on it that night. You can do it on its first wash, its first maintenance. Let the coating cure. With the coatings, I would definitely not let it get wet for at least 48 hours. And I wouldn't wash the vehicle for a week. Let that coating cure as long as you can.
Yeah, a lot of information out there on our testing that giving coatings 48 hours to 72 hours really enhances the longevity. Really enhances the longevity. When we're testing coatings, we'll wait 8 hours and then we'll paint correct on them just to kind of see. And believe it or not, some coatings, you can buff right off with 2 passes because they have not fully cured. So that curing of 48 to 72 hours is really important.
What else you got, Chris?
And wait time before washing and keeping out of the rain.
I just say a week.
Yeah, I'd say a week.
Yeah. I think that's what I got right now.
Cool. Well, look, we're pretty well wrapped up with this session. So tomorrow we don't have an 8 a.m. session, but we do have a 4 o'clock session today.
Yeah.
Rennie, you and Bob are going to talk to detailers who became manufacturers of chemicals and products. So that's going to be really interesting because that is a total phase shift for a detailer. So if you're thinking about doing that, you got to join us at 4 o'clock today. Tomorrow we're back at 9:30 with a different car, and we're doing a little different program with that. And then Wednesday night, big night for us, late night with Rennie Doyle.
Yeah. And
we have no idea what that show's going to be.
We do.
It's going to be fun.
It is. It's going to be fun, and it's going to be. We're gonna go more on a personal level. We're going to talk about taking and combining the business, and we're going to be real. We're going to take the gloves off, and I'm going to light a cigar, and we're going to just talk some real school, about success, life, living, what you should be doing. And if we want to give a sneak peek at what we'll be working on later this week, you can flash back. And we'll tell the story. That's a pretty amazing car.
That car was white when it came, but I sprayed bead maker on it.
Yeah. So a lot. It's got an amazing story. We'll get into that story on that car. And it's a local car, local friends of ours. Amazing car. But I think this afternoon's going to be fun. A lot of detailers want to jump into the game as having their name on products. It's not just as simple as that. And we're going to find out from a host of us, not just my opinion, but a lot of well-known people in the industry that have made that jump. So I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Well done.
And then Wednesday afternoon, we've got the storefront program we'll do with some actual guys who are retailing product out of their shop.
Yep.
So maybe you don't go building your own product. Maybe you do some retail out of your own shop. And then Thursday, this car comes back at 9:30 on Thursday morning. And we've kind of finished it out and show you some finished product. But before that, on Thursday morning, we have another session that's going to be fun. And we'll talk about that some more as we get further into our program. So until 4 o'clock today, I'm Keith DuPlessis. This is Rennie Doyle, Kyle Clark, Cindy Gwynn, and Prentice Sinclair for P&S Detail Products. Stay with us. We'll see you at SEMA 360.
And of course, we've got Chris back there.
Chris, hey, Chris, give us away.
Thanks,
there you
Chris.
go.
All right, man. See you guys.